Fear of abandonment. Oh, this is the big one. When we fear abandonment as adults, it is because at some point in our childhood or our younger foundational life that we were abandoned. And it might look different. A parent might have passed away, or both parents. You might have been put into foster care. You might have been taken by the state or by CPS. You know, your parents might have been unable to raise you, or if you grew up like a lot of people in the African American community do, you grew up with maybe a single mom. And this is not to say this is all people in the Black community or just in general, but this is a common experience that we have as, you know, people of color to grow up in a single parent, particularly single mother household. Maybe your mom was struggling and she had to bring you to your grandmother's house so your grandmother could raise you, whatever have you. When we get abandoned, and I'm going to take some time to explain this, and I'm going to be as quick as I can. Some of these down here, I don't think I need to go through because we've kind of covered a lot of ground. But I think I really want to spend just a minute or two talking about abandonment. So, when we are babies, we look to our caregivers, typically our parents, to meet all of our needs. So, for example, the baby is crying, the mom will come in and hold the baby, rock the baby on her shoulder, give the baby a bottle, or whatever have you. That interaction between the mother and the child is a soothing act. This is why we give babies pacifiers or soothers in the, you know, the some other places we call them soothers, but it is to soothe or to pacify the child. What's happening with the child is their nervous system is active and it is dysregulated. So they might have a stomach ache and they're screaming their head off, or, you know, they might be hungry and they're a little bit achy or whatever have you, or they just angry. I don't know. So they're whining, complaining, whatever have you. These are physiological responses to our emotions. And when our mom or caregiver or whoever comes in with the soothing, okay, I can be calm now. I don't have to cry. I feel comfort and I feel comfortable. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, when that dynamic is ripped apart for whatever reason, like some of the reasons that I mentioned previously, there is no, okay, this is the child. You're a little bit older. You might be like, you know, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, whatever have you. Now the child is in a position where they're emotionally dysregulated. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm sad. I am, you know, whatever have you. I'm emotional today. I'm depressed. There is no caregiver to soothe that child. The caregiver is gone. So the child is now in this situation where, wow, my needs are not being met, whether that's my emotional, physical, mental, my medical needs, my needs are not met. Now, parents are gone, we grow up, and we're adults now. As an adult, you would typically develop some form of unstable attachment. For me, I used to be anxiously attached, anxious avoidant, if you want to be technical, but very anxiously attached. Now, anxious attachment is one of the attachment styles. Your attachment style is simply how you relate to other people, and it is formed in your childhood. So if you had healthy, secure parents and they were available and loving and willing to help you with anything, you would have a more secure attachment style. If you were abandoned or neglected as a child, you would have a more anxious or avoidant attachment style. Me, I used to be anxiously attached. I would fawn. I would be head over heels over a boy or a guy or whoever have you, even when I was a young adult, like maybe 22, 23. And when I wouldn't get that, for one, because I was using them to cope, right? Life was boring. I'm experiencing emotional turmoil. I just want to be in a relationship so I don't feel as shitty about myself. But when they wouldn't respond, when I wouldn't hear from them for a couple of days, when the relationship seemed like it was over, even with females or other women, when they seemed like they didn't really like me much, I would get very anxious about it. And it would make me cry. I remember I used to trash my room, like just throw everything all over the place. Um, you know, text all day. Hey, what's going on? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Anxiously attached because my nervous system as an adult was dysregulated and I needed to cope. Oh, mute yourself, guys, please. Um, I needed to cope. And so I would use other people to cope, but when they left, I would not be regulated anymore. And so that's where that fear, let me see, trying to, uh, okay, there we go. Okay. So I had to have a moment where I said, okay, um, and this was more so 2020 during the pandemic. I was feeling very anxious at a particular point because of an interaction that I had with somebody. And I had started my healing journey around that time, really. And so I asked myself, okay, Alyssa, talking to my inner child myself, when was the first time you felt this feeling? And that is a really good idea if you guys want to learn where some of these things are coming from. Just ask yourself. The brain has millions of gigabytes of information that it stores, that it can store. And like a hard drive, you can just open the file and open it up and really see what it is that is causing you to feel this feeling. And the first time I felt that real sense of anxiousness in relation to another person, I used to live in Jamaica. My mom lived in America and I lived in Jamaica with my grandmother, if you see how this is playing out. Um, and I remember she came to Jamaica for her wedding in 2008. And, I was living there with my grandmother, my cousins, some of my aunts, but I didn't have my parents there with me. And I was experiencing a lot, to say the least, just a lot there. And when she came, a part of me was so relieved. I was like, finally, my mom is here. And, I'm going to have an opportunity to have that mother daughter relationship that I've been missing, that I've been wanting. But of course, she was busy with other things. So it never really happened the way that I wanted it to. But I still enjoyed her being there. Now, when it came time for her to leave after the wedding, I wasn't going to go with her. I was going to stay there. And this is where that anxiousness came from. And I can remember crying for days and feeling worried that she's going to leave me because in my inner child self, she's going to leave me again. And as an adult, it clicked and it made sense. Oh, the reason that this feeling is what I perceive abandonment to feel like. So you have to do an assessment on what was that first time that you really felt this feeling. Your mind will tell you, trust me. And I realized that, oh, this is what abandonment feels like. No wonder it feels so shitty. Who would have known? And then, and I'm not going to spill too much of the beans. I'm going to go into that when we go over the freedom, the road to freedom. But yes, dysfunctional relationship, we've already covered that. Sometimes you might want to control other people because you don't control your own self. So it might look like perfectionism and wanting everything to look and be a particular way. But I will burst the bubble for you all. You can't control anybody but yourself. Literally, no matter what you think, feel, or say, you are only in control of yourself. People are going to do whatever they want to do. And you should do what you want to do too. Enabling behavior, again, this is going over into more so the covert narcissistic, behavior or the altruism, just enabling and neglecting our own needs. So we take care of everyone else and we enable them and we do what we can for them and we neglect ourselves. So that would look like you giving all of your money away to somebody and then not having any money for yourself, or you spend the whole day cooking and cleaning and mopping and sweeping and folding and washing, and you do everything for everybody else. And then by the end of it, you're so tired, you don't have the time to get your hair done. You don't have the time to do your nails or run that bubble bath or anything. You give, 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 and give. And then when it comes time for you to be poured into, you can't accept it, or you are not being offered that kind of pouring into that you do for everybody else. And this can cause um, caretaker's resentment. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but as people who oftentimes care for everyone else, you develop this kind of resentment because you're not getting your needs met and taken care of as well. And all of this, falls under codependency. And then the anxiety and depression as well. Um, just living with this. For me, it used to feel like, and if you guys can put it in the chat and tell me if you felt this, what I'm about to explain, but I used to really feel like I had a dark cloud over my head. Like it was like this unshakable feeling of just, I don't know. I don't know if it was impending doom or just dissatisfaction or uncomfortability, but it just felt like a dark cloud over my head. That dark cloud is narcissistic abuse. That is what it is. That dark cloud is you being unaware of what actually is going on. I am about to say that the dark cloud is definitely gone, and I will never, ever go back to living that way. Now, this part is very interesting because and when I come back, I swear I'm going to look at all of the chat. Um, why do you feel so shitty as somebody who has experienced narcissistic abuse? You are not crazy, because a lot of it's more than just mental and emotional and behavioral, it is physical as well. Abuse, any kind of it, tends to leave us with physical scars. Might not be visible scars, but the body really keeps the score. So I'm just going to go over some of the, physical ailments that are linked to and caused by narcissistic abuse. So number one would be fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is it's like a joint bone kind of ailment where you have like pain in your joints and your bones. It can be characterized by like intense burning and things of that nature. A little bit different from arthritis, but nonetheless, here we are. Research indicates a significant link between experiencing emotional abuse and the development of fibromyalgia. Number two would be polycystic ovarian syndrome. I am a sister. I am a PCOS sister, if you want to call it that. And I've had it since my childhood, and I'm not ashamed of that because I like to empower other women as well to know that your body is, valued. And some of the things that you're experiencing, you are really not alone in experiencing it. So, according to researchers, studies have shown that experiencing emotional abuse can significantly increase the risk of developing polycystic ovarian syndrome. And PCOS is just it's a hormonal issue where the body is producing a lot of, I believe it's testosterone as a woman and androgens. So you'll end up with like, sometimes facial hair. It just depends. There's different types of PCOS, but facial hair, weight gain, acne, you'll have cysts on your ovaries, things of that nature. Um, and again, that's not the case for every person who has PCOS. Those are just some of the more common, symptoms. CPTSD and PTSD in general. So, emotional and narcissistic abuse are strongly linked to PTSD, and CPTSD is simply complex PTSD. So, it's a less severe form of PTSD. So, PTSD would be like somebody going to war, and when they come back home, they're afraid of the fireworks because it sounds like bombs going off. That's like PTSD. CPTSD is whenever something drops in your house, you jump. You know what I'm saying? You're startled very easily, or you're always looking out the window to see if somebody's coming home, or you are just anxious, very anxious for whatever reason. There is no danger, there's nothing happening, but it's that anxiety. So CPTSD and PTSD are definitely linked with emotional, um, physical, narcissistic abuse, all forms, manners of abuse. Depression. This can range from a mild to severe case and may require treatment through therapy, medication, or a combination of both. Anxiety, this is the body's natural response to stress, but when the stress becomes persistent and overwhelming, um, it can become a mental health condition. And if you know anything about living or existing or coexisting in a abusive, toxic dynamic, the stress is chronic. The body is always under some kind of stress. It also causes cardiovascular disease as well. Um, of course, this refers to a group of disorders that affect the heart and the blood vessels as well. Again, with the amount of stress that one experiences in this kind of dynamic, it can cause heart attacks, stroke, heart failure, and things of that nature as well. Gastrointestinal distress. If you ever wondered why your stomach always hurts for no good reason, or you always, throw up, I don't know what it was. I know exactly what it was. Let me not say that. I was having very bad gastric issues within the more recent years. And I want you guys to know that after a while, even if you're young, the body literally starts to break down because of how much stress it is under in the environment that you're in. And that's why I say get as far away from those people as possible. Your health has to improve. Now, um, this could be stuff like bloating, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, cramps, indigestion, GERD as well, acid reflux, um, food intolerance, or just digestive issues in general. Chronic pain, pain that is long lasting and it persists for months, even years. If you ever wonder why you get out of bed and you're just like, oh, my back. I'm like that. I mean, I'm just like, my back. It's just a lot. Me personally, because the field of work I work in healthcare currently, um, it's such a stressful job and a stressful field that I actually started developing pain in my neck, like stiffness. It's still like if I turn my neck this way, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because like I have like an internal issue. It's just that the body holds on to stress so much because when we don't let it go or we don't know how to let it go, your body will hold on to it. And chronic stress over time, it ends up causing, not just these things as well, but autoimmune disorders. Fibromyalgia, I believe, is one of them, cachexia, things of that nature, and cancer. Now, of course, cancer is a disease that the cells in the body grow uncontrollably. And there are many types of cancers, just depending on where it is in the body. But I want to point out here that so many people have suffered their whole lives with these different types of sicknesses. And you always wonder, why is this person so sickly? Why are they never okay? It sucks that so many people over the years have literally suffered um, in silence, and nobody ever knows why it is. But this is why I wanted to do this so that you guys could be aware. Now again, oh, let me go back. Okay, can you guys still see my screen? I want to go back. There we go. So again, in terms of the PCOS, Oh, I went way too far back. There we go. So we're just going to be calm, cool with it. There we go. So again, with the PCOS, there is a significant link with emotional maltreatment and childhood trauma and hormonal issues in our adult life. Matter of fact, studies, according to the NIH, indicate that women who have experienced childhood maltreatment and emotional abuse are 5 times more likely to have PCOS than individuals or women that do not have a history of abuse. Um, Research also indicates that with PCOS, these women are more likely to experience mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, of course, which can be related to a past traumatic experience. And such mental health challenges can also lead to difficulty regulating cortisol levels, which is like the stress hormone, which could exacerbate hormonal imbalances, resulting in more PCOS. And this is even a precursor to diabetes. The body literally is breaking down in the midst of the abuse. Even if they never laid a hand on, their words are enough to, their demeanor as well towards you is enough to really break you down. And I don't say these things to scare you guys, but I want you to know that there is hope. So here we are now, knowing what the narcissist is and what the dynamics in the role is, and what life is like for you as a victim. Now we're at the crossroads of destiny. When we choose to leave the family or relationship that is toxic or narcissistic, we become the black sheep. Now, again, the common denominator between every character in this movie, play, cinema is trauma. Everybody's been traumatized. They have had one or more experiences that have left them reeling from it. And when we choose not to heal, we go on to hurt other people because we're hurting ourselves, and misery loves company. When we do choose to heal and we walk away, we become the black sheep. But the black sheep ends up going on to live a very happy life if they get the help that they need, they reflect instead of project, they choose to be a better person than who they used to be and the people that they used to be around. And so there is hope, there is healing, and there is restoration. And I want you guys to know that there is a difference between narcissism and self esteem. It's the end result and the intention behind it. So, for example, self esteem refers to a healthy sense of self worth, self acceptance, and confidence. It involves a balanced and realistic understanding of one's strengths and weaknesses. A person with healthy self esteem recognizes their value intrinsically without needing external validation or the need to feel superior to other people. Narcissism involves the inflated sense of self. Um, they oftentimes have a lack of empathy for other people, and the narcissistic individual has an excessive need to be admired, to be pet, to have their ego pet, and to manipulate others to maintain the self image. Their self worth and their self esteem is very fragile, and it depends on external validation. So, if I could put it this way, to be brief, self esteem comes from within. Um, Self image, or the narcissist self esteem, comes from without. So, me personally, I used to have very low self esteem, and what I, you know, thought self esteem was is just thinking about what other people think about me. I was very worried about what people would think about me, and I never considered what I thought about myself. And I want you guys to start considering, what do I think about myself, and not what anybody else, says about me. Um, when we bolster ourselves up, because the same way that somebody can give you a compliment is the same way that somebody can insult you. And if your entire self-esteem and sense of self is based off of what other people are going to say, they will always have you in like a kind of yo-yo state where one minute I'm beautiful, the next minute they say I'm ugly, so I must be ugly. And when you're in that kind of back and forth state, your emotions are going to be back and forth on that roller coaster as well. So that's the difference. Self esteem is healthy and it fosters healthy relationships. Narcissism is not healthy and it fosters toxic relationships. So they might look the same, but it really just depends on what the results are, what the relationships of that person looks like, and what their intention is. Now, I will give a brief trigger warning. We are going to watch just a few videos. I think it's maybe two or three. They're like TikToks because I love TikTok. But if you ever wanted to know what it looked like, if you needed like a second opinion as to what it looked like, um, let me show you. Okay. So I believe that this is a mother and her daughter. And so notice how her mom, the narcissist, is smiling through it and denying it.
We can't hear the video.
Oh, you
If you
can't hear it? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Huh. So
But
I
I think the volume on the video has to be turned on before you turn the video on to us or something along those lines.
Ooh, let me see. So my computer volume is turned all the way up.
It's right before you, from what I understand, I'm not looking at the Zoom piece there, but there's something that says volume or video or volume or audio on when you
Is
get
it
ready to
there?
turn that on.
Microphone. Uh, uh, uh.
It's
Hmm.
right before you start to share your screen as well. So you may have to
Okay,
unshare and then go back out and then choose the audio on.
gotcha. So let's go back and see. Okay, so there's that. I click and then, okay, let me see. Is it working? If not, then we can just skip the videos. Is it working, Dr. Beckwith?
No, we can't. We still can't hear it.
Okay,
And I know this happened to me once. That's how come I remember that it's right before you get ready to share your screen and share the slides and everything else. If you're going to share with anything with the videos,
gotcha.
there's with audio that has to be turned on first. But
Okay, totally fine. So we're just going to skip the videos. I'm still figuring out Zoom, so thank you for your patience with me all.
that's
Um,
okay. You're fine. Hey, we are here. We're learning things. That's a good thing.
yes. So manipulation. I wanted to show you guys what some manipulation looks like, but that's okay. So manipulation tactics are strategies that people use to influence or control others in subtle, sometimes not so subtle, deceptive or unethical ways. They often do it with no regard for the other person's well-being. And these tactics can be used in relationships, workplaces, politics, the church, the mosque, wherever you go. And it just involves exploiting emotions, vulnerabilities, and insecurities. Again, the objective is control and power and regulation of the manipulator. And here are some common manipulation tactics. We're going to get right into it. And you guys can let me know if you've experienced this as well. I'm going to try to get through these as quickly as I can because I don't want to keep you all. So, number one is gaslighting. Gaslighting is making somebody question their own memory and reality or perception of an event. This could look like me taking your purse and taking money out of it and then putting it back. You saw me take the purse, but you didn't really say anything about it. When you go into your purse, you say, hey, you know, there was $300 in here. Where did that money go? Then as a manipulator, if I wanted to gaslight you, I would say, well, what are you talking about? I didn't have the purse. Yes, you did. Oh, I remember now, but I don't know what money you're talking about. When I took it, I didn't see anything in there. And you're in your mind, like, I know for a fact that I had $300 in my purse. Did you try asking such and such, knowing good and well that I took the money? But I want to make you doubt your reality. At first, I said I didn't even take it, but you caught me in a lie, so I had to save face. So gaslighting is, well, I didn't say that. Common phrase you hear is, I didn't say that. And when did that happen? And I don't remember it that way. And that's how you see it. They will oftentimes make you seem like you're crazy for speaking up about exactly what happened. It's all manipulation. Guilt tripping. They make you feel guilty for not doing or doing something that they did or did not want. And they play on your emotion and your propensity to feel guilt. In a romantic relationship or a romantic, dynamic, this can be, a man talking to a woman. Oh, so you don't want me to come to, your birthday party? I thought we were cool. I thought you liked me or whatever have you. I expect so much better from you. And honestly, you might have just set a boundary. Hey, it's a girls trip. I just don't want you to come. And you're just gonna leave me here. You're just abandoning me. This is them trying to make you seem like the bad guy and feel bad so that you will change your course of action. Oh, well, I thought that you loved me. I thought that you said that you would never leave me, whatever have you. It's all manipulation. Love bombing. They shower you with excessive affection. And again, these are gender non exclusive. So this can be a man or woman or anyone really doing these things to you. They'll shower you with excessive affection. So, prime example, you meet somebody, say I'm somebody you met and you're my love interest. Or, and this is not exclusive to just romantic, a parent can love bomb you to reel you back into the abusive household. A job can dangle carrots in front of your face and say, hey, well, if you come back, we're going to give you a raise and we're going to give you your own office. And we're going to, get you a personal assistant. They offer you things just to pull you back into the abusive dynamic and then to continue abusing you. So in a romantic situation, that can look like excessive praise. We just met. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. I love you so much. You're the type of woman that I want to bring home to my mother. And I could see you being my wife. Dude, I met you yesterday at the Wingstop. Why are we talking about marriage? I felt like I've known you for so long. They love bomb you to get what they want out of you. This is why a lot of times, maybe now or previously in your life as women, you would meet a guy and he seemed perfect and he was saying all the right things and doing all the right things. And it was very quick, but hey, he gave you butterflies. And when he got what he wanted, which could have been sex from you or your time or your money or whatever have you, he completely turned into a ghost or turns into a completely different person. And now it's just like, I regret sharing my body with you. What happened? This is manipulation. They play the victim. So again, with the guilt tripping, they exaggerate their sense of being mistreated or wrong to elicit sympathy. So these are the people who it's always woe is me. Oh, well, I can't do it because I'm too old or I'm too young or I can't do it because I didn't. Again, it's always I can't, I can't, I can't. It's always woe is me. They are the victim of victims. They do this to elicit sympathy and to gain a foothold with you so that when nobody's looking, they can bash you over the head with a club. Silent treatment. Now, this is withdrawing communication and sometimes attention, affection as well, to make the other person feel ignored or abandoned. I want you guys to know that the silent treatment is a torture mechanism. I mean, when, you know, government agencies, the NDAs, the ODA, other government organizations, right, the ones we don't know about, when they want to torture somebody and put them in a very dark hole in a very dark place, They will keep them there blindfolded or with a bag over their head in a room with no human contact. The only contact they get, if they're lucky, is food being thrown under under the little grate under the door. There is nobody talking to you. This is torture. And the silent treatment, again, it's just that. I'm going to act as if you do not exist. And in me pretending that you don't exist to
That's
maintain my,
9. We're beyond 9 o'clock.
huh?
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I just wanted to know that if you guys do need to leave, you can. I allotted 3 hours, so from 7 to 10, just to get through everything and Q&A and all that good stuff. But you guys do not have to stay until 10. You can leave whenever you are ready. Um, but yes. So my mom, she gave me the silent treatment one time and it sucked. It absolutely sucked. And I want you guys to know that when you, again, it goes back to that self soothing. I'm not sure if anybody has seen that experiment, that child development experiment that they did where the mother would stand in front of the baby and interact with the baby and reflect to the child that they are seeing, meaning that their needs will be met. Now, when the mom's face goes completely and she just blank stares at the baby, you can see that they're starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. The baby looks away and is trying to avoid the mother. If at the end, I remember, let me write this down so I can show you guys at the end of it so you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, while you're writing that down, the only thing I was going to say is that as you're speaking about the silent treatment, etc., that's why when people are in prison, unfortunately, solitary confinement is so powerful, and a lot of people do not want to return back to solitary confinement because socialization is a natural process.
Absolutely right.
And yes, there are a lot of people who do like to be in solitude, but at the same time, even with just the recent COVID situation and people having to be at home or being by themselves, their reactions were so poignant that it was very evident that socialization is extremely valuable and extremely important. So the silent treatment in a relationship is very damning.
Yes, thank you. I didn't even think about that. About the solitary confinement. Absolutely. So I know I wasn't too far off when I said like this is literally torture. And blame shifting as well. It's them not taking any accountability for their own actions. And so what they do is blame the victim, which can, sometimes be called victim blaming as well, or blaming anybody else but themselves. This can be done in a relationship. This can be done in a family. This can be done as a society. Um, well, this is something I hear a lot. Well, Black women, you raised those kids, so you can't complain about them because you're the ones who raised them. And then the women will say, well, where were you guys to help us raise the kids? And of course, this is not everybody, but it's a constant game of blame, and no one ever really takes accountability. Triangulation is bringing a third person into the dynamic or into the argument to maintain a unbalanced dynamic. So two against one, if you want to put it that way, right? So it'll look like if somebody wants to confront you, they'll bring their partner or their sister or somebody else, their best friend, so they can both gang up on you because that person is too weak to take you on by themselves. And this could be a parent that triangulates you, a partner, um, it does not matter. This is all intersectional. And then reactive abuse as well. They will antagonize you, literally antagonize you into reacting to them. And when you do react, now they pull out their phone and they try to record you and go back to playing the victim. They'll guilt trip you, gaslight you, after they have antagonized you. You see how all of these are kind of like interconnected? This is crazy making stuff. This is the type of stuff that will make you lose your mind the longer that you are actually in these dynamics. And nobody deserves to lose their sanity because of any reason. There is no reason. So I want you guys to know that. Now let's go to our next slide. Hopefully it works. Okay, perfect. So they'll play on your insecurities. So if they know that you're insecure about your weight, that's something that they will constantly criticize you about. And it's like, okay, can you stop talking about it? Nope. I'm just going to keep talking about that specifically because I know it's something that you're insecure about. Think of these people as like toddlers or maybe like elementary schoolers. They're like playground bullies. And all they want to do is nah, 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 nah. They pick and pick and pick on you until you end up snapping. And sometimes you snap and you leave. Sometimes you snap and you just lose it. But this is their goal, to control you, to have you in an emotional roller coaster because they want you to stay there and believe that this is all that there is to life. Withholding goes with the silent treatment. I'm not going to give you love, attention, or affection, especially if you make me upset. And when I am done, I'm going to skip some of them. I'm going to go through some of these. And when I'm done in my withholding, I'm going to hoover you back in. So like a Hoover vacuum, I'm going to, keyword, love bomb you and give you the affection and the attention and the love until I'm upset with you or you do something I don't like. Then I am going to withhold, sometimes devalue you. So it's like a dynamic of they praise you 1 minute, then they curse you the next. And I want you guys to know that you were never the problem. The people that raised you or the people that you were in relationships with were out of their minds. Not saying that you don't have your own responsibility in the role as well, but who does this stuff and for what? You know, to destroy other people, to hurt other people. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So it is a constant cycle of I love you, I hate you, go away, come back. No wonder people end up losing their minds and their sanity dealing with these kinds of people. Door in face, they'll start with something unreasonable and then follow it up with a smaller, more reasonable request. Hey, can I get $1,000? No, I don't have that. Okay, well, how about 100? Okay, I can give it to you. This is manipulation. Victim blaming as well. We hear a lot about this in society. The victim gets blamed for their trauma. Case in point, if a woman is sexually assaulted, people will say, well, what were you wearing? Oh, well, if you went outside dressed like that, obviously that's going to happen to you. Well, if you didn't dress like such a slut, that would not happen. But women are victimized no matter what they're wearing. It could be a tutu, it could be a sweatsuit, it could be literally a burqa, it could be anything. So to blame the victim absolves the abuser or the perpetrator of any action, and it oftentimes puts a lot of guilt and shame on the victim. You have breadcrumbing, which is just the way that it sounds. I'm going to give you just enough to keep you around, but not enough to make you stay. And I've been breadcrumbed so many times by men and, like in romantic situations. Hey, I don't really want a relationship, but I'm not ready to let you go. So we'll just, be in a casual fling kind of situation. And I know that you want more from this, but every now and then we'll go to the movies and do whatever have you, but I will never claim you or be committed to you. This is breadcrumbing. Again, it's not enough to keep you or not enough to make you stay, but just enough to keep you. It's just insane. And finally, on this page, we have the narcissistic discard. This is when they ghost you, they cut you off, you go excommunicado, right? You have been thrown out of the group, sometimes disowned if you're in like a family. And this is a form of devaluation of a person Because to discard something means that it has no value anymore. To discard something means that it's broken and it is useless. We discard trash. So to treat a person, let alone somebody you claim that you love, your child, your partner, your, whoever, to discard them like they're a piece of trash, that sucks. It makes people feel really bad. And I've been discarded several times in my life, especially by romantic partners. And I had to give myself grace and say, Alyssa, it's okay to feel shitty about this because you were thrown away like a piece of trash. Who would want to feel thrown away like a piece of trash? You know? And again, I want you all to know that these tactics are used to bolster themselves and to destroy your sense of yourself. And it's a very unfortunate setup as to how they do it. But again, there is hope. Do not be afraid. Let's see. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over all of these. I'm just going to talk about some of them. Smear campaigning, they'll go on a rampage and tell everybody that you suck, and they will make it seem like they're the victim and you're the bad guy, especially when you leave the narcissist, whether it's the relationship or the dynamic, and they have no more control over you. They have to control how other people perceive you. So they'll tell people that you're crazy, you need to be in a mental home, they think that you're on drugs or something, anything to maintain the image. And I want you to know that the image is always above any one person. It, it's just insanity. There's emotional weaponization where they use your emotions against you. And oftentimes that's mixed with false concern. So it's, oh, come on, tell me what's going on in your life, what's going on in your day. I'm worried about you. You can trust me. And then you open up and you tell them what you're feeling. And then they will weaponize that later on when they're upset or when, you and them are having a disagreement. They'll say, oh, well, at least I'm not worried about the man that doesn't want me like you are. At least I don't cry like a little bitch. They will weaponize that same trust that you gave them. These people are not to be trusted. And it's oftentimes the covert narcissist that'll do stuff like this. We've talked about the guilt tripping, the altruism, invalidation. They just will tear down your sense of self. Anything that you like, or whoever you want to be, they will tell you that it's not valid, that you should be realistic, that, there's better. You are valid as a person. You have the right to be and express yourself the way that you want without being validated or invalidated, rather. The chronic criticism, like I mentioned before, you'll never do anything right. You're always wrong, and the narcissist is always right. Bait and switch. This is kind of like that antagonism that I talked about earlier. They'll bait you into a situation, and then as soon as they get you right where they want you on the X, that is when they swoop in and cut you down at the knees. I am telling you that these people, I think they got sloppy because they didn't realize that people were reading between the lines of their actions. That now I'm able to actually sit here and explain to you all of these things in this kind of detail. And then weaponized incompetence is the last one that we're going to go over. And all of these are manipulation tactics. Weaponized incompetence is them pretending that they cannot do something for themselves just so they don't have to do it and that you will do it. So, oh, well, I can't, let's say you have an adult parent and they say, oh my God, well, I can't file my taxes. I can't order an Uber. I can't do this on the computer and I can't do that. And it's just like, you don't know how to use your phone, but you can operate Facebook with no problem. Interesting. You don't know how to file your taxes, yet somehow your taxes are always filed. Interesting. It's not that they can't do it, they just want you to do it. Sometimes it's just control. Okay, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to disguise it as what I need done. And if you're gullible enough or just, indoctrinated enough, you will fall for not only the incompetence that they display, but a lot of these manipulation tactics. And I want you guys to know that let me close this down. I want you guys to know that you don't have to feel bad about experiencing these things. So many people throughout the ages, throughout history, has experienced these same things. So I want you guys to know that you're really not alone in feeling the things that you feel. Um, and there's different types of abuse. If anybody wants to screenshot this, you can. I'm not going to go over all of them, but abuse can take many forms. And it's important to recognize the different types of abuse so that you can get the help that you actually need when you need it. And, here are the main types. A lot of people think that physical abuse is the only type of abuse. This is so wrong. This is false. This is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Of course, we know what physical abuse looks like, hitting, slapping, kicking, choking, burning, whatever have you. Different, this can be in a family dynamic with parents and children, elderly physical abuse, or in a relationship like domestic violence, emotional and psychological abuse, narcissistic abuse, essentially. Everything that we just talked about, the humiliation, the manipulating, the control, the threats, the verbal criticism, and all that good stuff. Sexual abuse. This refers to unwanted or forced contact sexually or behavior such as molestation, RAPE, just to not trigger anybody, coercion into sexual acts. Um, at times, sexual abuse can look consensual. It does not always have to be non consensual. And this is why these things go very unnoticed and unspoken about, because you don't even know if what happened was what you thought it was or what it wasn't. So I want you guys to know that yes, sometimes sexual abuse, it can be consensual. Um, Not to say that it's something that you want, but if you think back to the example that I gave about the people pleaser, the woman who, sleeps with her husband, even though she does not want to have sex, but he wants it, so she gives it to him because she just has to please him. He's not concerned in any way about her sexual pleasure, her emotional needs, how she feels in that situation. I would consider that a kind of coercion into a sexual act, therefore sexual abuse, if that makes sense. Verbal abuse, belittling, degrading, yelling, name calling, insulting, and making cruel and threatening remarks. All of these things should have never happened to you ever, but especially as a kid. And so many children experience all of these types of abuse. And you wonder why some people end up in prison. Some people end up, you know, taking their own life or self harming. You wonder why they end up in situations where they're on drugs or they're homeless or things of that nature. Because all of this stuff is really, it's really freaking heavy. And for a child, no less. It just, my heart goes out to all of the lost souls and just the lost people out here that have experienced this kind of stuff. Um, I'm just so sorry. Digital online, that's, cyberbullying, cyber stalking, neglect, when we fail to meet the needs of others, especially those who are depending on us. And I want you to know that shuffling is a form of abuse. It's when we pass our kids off to different family members as well. And I will give you my resource for that. It might not be, well, let me not say abuse, it's neglect. To hand your child off to just anybody not knowing what's going on, it is neglect. Institutional abuse is more, and we'll kind of categorize that with workplace. It's more so in a system, an organization, or an institute, such as a school, hospital, care home, workplace, or whatever have you. Same dynamics can be happening. It's just in a different kind of environment. And you guys can screenshot that if you'd like as well. So why do they do these things? And we're about to get, pretty much to the end of this. Why do they do these things? They want to maintain control over you. They want to regulate their own nervous system at your expense. They want to destroy your self esteem and your sense of self. They make themselves look better through manipulating you and abusing you, to sabotage your plans and your future. They do these things to keep you enmeshed in the toxic dynamic or in the relationship, and to break your will and to punish you. There are lots of reasons why they do the things that they do, but these are just some of the reasons that I believe and I have found to be real for me, that they do the things that they do to their victims. Let's see. So, what should you do? And the rest of these, we're going to go over them fairly quickly because it's not too, much. I think we've gone through most of the meat and potatoes. What should you do? Let's talk about healing. Now that we're aware and we are informed and enlightened, and you know, we've got a good idea. What can we do? So, again, Ayan Levon's on. I love her so much. I hope that one day I will be not the next Ayan Levon's on, but somewhere in that arena of just helping people to heal themselves. Ayana says, I cannot fix you, but there is healing and restoration. Healing and restoration. I think for me, there were four foundations of healing. And number one, it was removing myself from the dynamic, especially when it came onto relationships. Some of those relationships I had to let go of. I still am in an interesting environment, working on it, but the less narcissist you can be around, the better. Even if you have to be around one, I would rather be around one than be around 100 of them. You can't heal in the same environment that wounded you. And it's okay to consider cutting them off completely because you don't owe them anything. Honestly, if it's your parents, and I'm not saying you have to cut them off completely in every situation, you just do what works for you, but you can consider limited contact or no contact at all. So, limited contact would be like, okay, I am only going to speak to this person on Tuesdays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Anytime outside of that, I'm unavailable. If they start yelling on the phone, I'm going to hang up and we're only going to be texting from now on. So it just depends. No contact is exactly as it sounds. You block them on everything, you move away, you never talk to them again. It just depends on what you need for your healing, and you are justified in whatever decision it is that you take to actually heal. Again, consider going to therapy. Um, Therapy provides specialized clinical and professional help that helps us to address our trauma. For me, cognitive behavioral therapy was a lifesaver and a game changer because me and, Dr. Beckwith, not giving too much details, but, she taught me about cognitive behavioral therapy and how we can use this to, in a way, reshape our thoughts and replace our bad thoughts with better thoughts. Um, I would also recommend and say, for me at least, seeking peace in God has been also just one of the best decisions, the best decision I've ever made in my life. Jesus really does care. And I know it sounds so cliche. Oh, yeah, Jesus loves you. Blah, blah, blah. No. Like when I tell you that my life is so beautiful now, and it's because of the Lord that I am empowered and that I am alive and I'm here able to speak to you guys about these things, especially being the age that I am and just all that I've experienced. I know that there was divine intervention many times in my life, but I really do give God like the credit and the glory for not letting me succumb to whatever it is that I could have, because I could have been anywhere doing anything. Um, and it doesn't have to be go to church every Sunday or go wherever have you. You don't even have to sanitize your prayers. Sometimes you can just talk to him like he's your friend. Hey, God, I'm angry at you. I'm frustrated. I'm sad today, whatever have you. He does show up. I promise you that. Um, I could go on, and I was going to share some testimonies with you guys, but we would be here all day, honestly. Um, he's active and he's living, and he really, really does care. And I want you guys to know that. And the fourth pillar, I would say for me and recommending to you guys is self soothing. Again, learning how to soothe your nervous system and your body when you're feeling stressed, anxious, upset, sad, whatever have you. When you learn to soothe your own self, you break that dependence on needing somebody else there to soothe you, and you free yourself. See, when you are a child who was not given the opportunity to learn self soothing and you have that anxious nervous system, you grow up experiencing a lot of different things, especially from these dynamics and family backgrounds. You grow up to become a codependent. And a codependent, like I said, needs somebody else to manage them, to help them cope. They depend on others for emotional regulation, for their physical needs, for their mental and emotional, whatever have you. But the thing with that is, narcissists can smell you from a mile away when you are codependent. So you're thinking, okay, my family abused me, or I came from this kind of background. You know, I'm just going to go find love and somebody else is going to love me. That is not the case at all. Of course, people will love you in life, people will genuinely care for you. But when we're talking about love, no, you just left the pan and entered into the fire. They will smell you. They're like sharks. I don't know. They see your mannerisms. They see the way that you talk, the way that you act as somebody who is a anxious attached person, a codependent, a victim of abuse. They see you. This is oftentimes why people will leave a abusive dynamic and then find themselves in another abusive dynamic because they are predators. They see you, they watch you, they descend on you, and because we're less, we're not the wiser, we fall for it. So I want you to know that learning to self-soothe, prayer, therapy, removing yourself, honesty, one of the biggest things that will really help you is just being honest about your feelings. It's okay to feel whatever you feel. You're justified, but you feel your feelings, you breathe through them, and you find another way. Let's see. Okay. And I think I'm making pretty good timing. So if you guys would like, you can screenshot this as well. What are some practical tips for healing? Like I said, therapy. Any kind of therapy, just find what works best for you. And let me just add, massage therapy is fantastic as well. Journaling, it is writing down, and you can find different journal prompts on Pinterest. So a journal prompt would be, what is one of your favorite childhood memories? Or what is the first time that you felt angry at your mom? Or if you could be someone today, who would you be? So journaling helps us to take quiet time and reflect on ourselves and have like an actual note of it as well so we can look back and see how we've grown over time. We've talked about self-soothing, we've talked about prayer, finding community. You can find community in trusted people. I want to point that out. People who are good for you. Sometimes they might challenge your beliefs. Sometimes you might not like everything that they have to say, but it is the intention behind that community that really matters at the end of the day. We are not meant to be alone. We are social creatures by nature. And it's okay to want to have friends or whatever have you. This is why, for me, I started the Girl I Got You Women's Club and Women's Group. I wanted to make a safe space for women to come together and, be able to come to seminars like this, to have in-person events, to, heal together, learn, just to have fun, all kinds of good stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I started my women's group. And if anybody's interested in joining, I can get your contact information and then I can add you to the group as well. And it doesn't matter where you are. A lot of things we do are virtual. Sometimes we'll do in person, but mainly virtual. Again, moving away from the narcissist. Breathing is so helpful. Breathing is good. Sometimes we're just breathing into our chest and we're doing really shallow breaths. But sometimes it is okay to just 10 deep breaths. That way we reset our nervous system and we really calm ourselves down and just get into a relaxed state. Um, Creativity is very good as well. Think back to your childhood and think of some of the things that you liked to do. Did you like coloring? Did you like writing stories? Did you like writing poems? What did you like to do when you were a kid? And I know that through life situations and circumstances, we put that away, but you were created to create. Look at the variety that we have in nature. As I mentioned before, God is an artiste. He is the greatest painter. If you look up in the sky, you'll see some of his handiwork. He is the best flower arranger. He's the best poem writer or poet, if you want to call it that, storyteller. I mean, God does everything. He's literally amazing. And he created you as well, whether you believe it or not. You were created and it is in your nature to create. So write that book, write that poem, sing that song or make that song or paint that picture. If you want to just, I don't know, finger paint all over the place or put your cat's paws in the paint and put it on an easel or a, you know, clear board or whatever they call it you paint on. Um, Create. Creativity is the best medicine for a mundane life because creation is a very beautiful, sometimes messy, sometimes even destructive process. But when you have your end result, you'll be so glad that you did it. Reparenting, which can be considered remothering and refathering, um, is something that I've done for myself. To reparent is simply to be as the adult that you are today, be the parent that you needed when you were a kid. So reparenting would look like, you remember that situation I said about being anxious about my mom leaving? So I would, sit and get into a real calm state and just speak to my inner child in that particular moment and say, Alyssa, I know that you're scared and I know that you're worried, and I'm so sorry that you feel that way, but I want you to know that I am here for you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to do whatever it is that you want to do. I am here for you. Like that, right? It's changing our internal dialogue from the harsh inner critic or the very criticizing parent to the accepting and loving parent that we actually needed. And I will be doing an event on reparenting very soon. Give me some time, but I will definitely be doing that as well for you guys to kind of go over it in more detail. Affirmations are good as well. Affirmations were very big for me, in my life in recent years and even now. Affirmations are a like quick cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like a loophole, right? Instead of thinking bad thoughts or thinking about whatever's negatively speaking to yourself, instead of saying, I'm broke, I don't have the money, I can afford it, whatever have you. Affirmations are simply just that, to affirm what you want to believe. So you replace your old thoughts with affirmations and say, you know what, I'm actually rich. I have all the money that I need. I am safe and all of my needs are met. I can afford anything I want. Your word is literally your want. And if you want a biblical perspective of that, the Bible says to speak those things that are not as though they were. So I want you to know that you have all the permission to do this. Um, I live in a very big mansion. My yacht is so spacious. Whatever it is that you want to create, use your word. Now, going back to biblically speaking, in the beginning, you know, God said, let there be light, and there was light. That is not just creation, but it is to speak something into existence. And I really think that's where the concept comes from. So to affirm yourself, what kind of life do you want to live? Who do you want to be? And then you make your affirmations based off of that. So for me, if I said I wanted to get healthier and lose weight, an affirmation or some affirmations would be I am improving my relationship with food. I love my body just the way that I am, even though I'm making improvements. Um, my relationship with food is getting better every day. It just depends on what you need. So, affirmations, self care, bathe, bathe. Bathing is great. Brushing, washing your hair, cutting your nails, self care. It is great. That's awesome. Taking bubble baths, and that's fine as well, you know. But self care also looks like saying no. Self care also looks like laying in bed all week or weekend and just watching movies and ordering takeout. Self care looks like honoring yourself and what you need to feel taken care of. And I would recommend, especially if you're in a beginning phase of healing or you're somewhere along the journey, treat yourself like you would treat your child, like you would treat a baby. Going back to the whole reparenting concept, right? Um, to care for oneself. Okay, Alyssa, what do you want today? Do you want to have pho for lunch or do you want to have Korean barbecue? Okay, you want Korean barbecue? Well, the place is far, but I'm gonna drive myself there anyway because I'm worth it. I'm going to take myself to the mall. And, what do I want? Do I want this pink top or do I want this red one? You know what? How about I get you both? Like, I know it sounds so crazy, but you are literally rewiring your own mind and restructuring your relationship with yourself. Self care looks like a lot, but it's also dependent on you and yourself. Setting boundaries as well, because boundaries keep us safe and they teach others how to treat us and they teach us how we will accept or want to be treated. Boundaries, saying no when we mean no, and that's that, saying yes when we want to say yes. I'm not taking calls after 5 p.m. I will not be talking to you at 2 a.m. Um, I'm not going to drive 5 hours away just to go get some, I don't know, Raising Canes for my sister, whatever have you. Boundaries. And if other people are upset that you're setting boundaries, that is their, what's the problem? I was going to cuss, but that is their problem. Okay. If anybody's angry at your boundaries, that means they were benefiting from taking advantage of you. So boundaries are good. And, I've had an event on boundaries and people pleasing before, but I think it's something that's going to have to come back up, in the future as well, because I know a lot of people struggle with it. Just the last couple of, other practical tips. Have fun. Again, you are only alive here on this big blue and brown and green rock for but so much time. Life can be hard. Why make it harder on yourself? It is okay to laugh. It's okay to have fun. It is okay to do some of the things that you've always wanted to do. Me, I'm putting together a bucket list. And one of the things that's on my bucket list for this year is to go to Disney World. Or is it Disneyland? Nope, Disney World. Um, I've always wanted to go to Disney World as a kid, but we never had the money to go to Disney World. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm an adult. I have my own money. I can go. So having fun. Go dance in the rain. Go, make paper boats and throw them down the storm drain or something like that. Go to karaoke. If you like, go bar hopping, go to the ballet or the opera or wherever. Take yourself swimming. If you want to enjoy music and just go on a drive, you can do that. Like having fun is very healing for our inner children because at some point the fun stopped and it became very hard. And so having fun is definitely a good way to reconnect with your inner child, which is just yourself, and really enjoy life. Enjoy the life that you're given. Um, Redefining your values. What does love look like to you? What are your hard yeses and what are your hard nos? What do you value the most? What is very important to you? Before we go into the whole dynamic of relationships and whatever with other people, who am I? Your values are a big part of who you are. For me, um, I'm a Christian and I have a lot of very biblical values. I'm not a Bible thumper. I swear I won't beat you over the head with the Bible like Kendrick Lamar. I promise. But what it is I just value a lot of those things. I value my relationship with God, and so a lot of the things that I do is out of that value system. So you question yourself, what is it that you value, and what are your morals? What are your ethics? What do you stand on? Before you can walk the path with anybody else, you got to stand firm in your own self. And even this, redefining your values and of so much of these other things, will help you to begin formulating your own sense of self. My family might be, you know, all vegetarians. Well, I like eating chicken. My family might, all have a Christmas tradition where they, I don't know, put whipped cream on everybody, but I find it to be, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. This is how you begin to break yourself from the enmeshment when you define what you like, what don't you like, what is important to you, what do you value, and life will be so much better when you really are authentically being you without a care. Mindful movement is awesome as well. I know people are always like, go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym. I'm going to be honest. And I think, okay, it's 10:01. So we've got like two or three more slides. I don't think they're informative slides. I just think it's like different stuff that you can kind of like QR codes that you can access different links to. But if anybody does want to leave, you can. But I'm going to just finish it up here. Mindful movement is good. Dancing, belly dancing, stretching, walking, running, swimming, aerobics, things of that nature to get your body going. If you want to do Pilates or weightlifting, that's fine as well. Personally, I hate the gym, so I doubt that I will be going back to a gym ever. But that doesn't mean that we can't move our bodies. Go play with your dog or have cuddle time or, you know, anything that really gets your body moving and out of that sedentary state. I know that trauma can make us want to just curl up and be in one position where it feels safe, but that also adds to the pain that we feel in our bodies as well. Move it or lose it. Sexual sobriety, that's very important as well. Not just entering into casual sexual relationships just because we don't want to be alone. Honoring ourselves is actually and ironically the best way to boost our self esteem. To honor your body is to boost your self esteem. Because when you really care for yourself, you don't feel the need to sleep with just anybody. Quitting substances as well. Of course, that might not be as easy as it sounds, but just cutting back and if you can quit altogether, and then just having love for yourself, grace, and forgiveness. Let's see. So, with that said, I just have maybe two. Yep. So, these are some self help books that you guys can explore. Let me see. Can you guys see me? Okay, there we go. Some self help books. So I actually brought my books, and that's why I put them on this list. Um, this is called Healing the Scars of Childhood Abuse by Gregory L. Jantz. It's really good. And let me go back to the presentation and see. Okay. Can you guys see me? Even though I'm sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So This is a really good book, and I'll kind of put it back on the screen for you guys if you need it.
Right, you'd
Um,
have to because it looked pretty small. I couldn't really.
yes. Okay, so this is this book right here. Healing
Got
the
it.
Scars of Childhood Abuse. It is fantastic. This book is a eye opener. It talks about so many different types of abuse, even things that I didn't know were abuse and neglect are in there, and it talks about, steps to emotional healing as well. Let's see. Did I bring my Codependent No More book? Yes. Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie. It is awesome. And the reason I brought these books is so that you knew, like, I actually read them. I didn't just like put them on here. I don't have the copy of He's Just Not That Into You. It's been a while, but it kind of goes over that desperation and that anxious attachment that we sometimes have as women, especially in like a romantic sense. But this is a pretty good book for codependence as well. Let me see. Yes. Setting Boundaries Will Set You Free by Nancy Levin. This is a pretty good first person kind of guide as to how she was experiencing such turmoil in her life because she did not have any boundaries. And there's different activities in the book as well that you can kind of interact with and all that good stuff. Um, of course, I will always recommend the Holy Bible because even if you're not a Christian, there are just so many life changing and insightful scriptures and words in this book that I think everyone can benefit from. Um, I don't have a copy of My Family Can Kiss My Ass, but please, it's like $5 on Amazon. Grab yourself a copy. Notice how the black sheep and all of the other enmeshed narcissistic toxic family members are there. Late Bloomers is also a good book as well. I know that a lot of times we feel like our life has just passed
Did
us
you
by.
find it?
Huh? Oh,
Oh,
oh yes. A
um,
lot of times.
this girl who used to be my client, she was doing
Oh, wait, Dr. Bethany, you're unmuted, but I don't want you to say anything in the background. I didn't want anybody to hear what you're saying. Just in case you're like having a private conversation. But late bloomers, sometimes we might feel that we, you know, missed out on life and that we didn't experience what we wanted to experience and all kinds of stuff. But you are right on time and you are where you need to go or where you need to be. And the last two, if anybody has any issues with like their eating, so you might, have an unhealthy relationship with food. I didn't put this one on here, but it's called When Food is Comfort by Julie M. Simon. And then Lovable by Kelly Flanagan. So self-help books are also really good too, as well, along with the other things as well. Because trust me, you are not alone. There are so many people out here who have experienced what you've experienced. So with that said, I know this was long, but I told you guys I wanted to be so thorough and detailed. Do we have any questions, concerns, qualms, anything of that nature? If not, then I will, go ahead and kind of wrap up. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. And thank you guys so much for
I
the
have a question.
oh sure. Yes.
So I just wanted to know, like, do you think narcissistic people can ever change? And is it derived from birth or as they grow up or when they're like adults? Is that when it happens, when they become a narcissistic person or show like the traits or the characteristics?
So in my opinion, I don't think anybody is born a narcissist. It's something that is taught and it's something that is learned. Um, I believe that children are blank slates when they're born, and we imprint on them whatever we want them to know. So this is why you can take a baby that was born in Korea and drop them in the middle of Brazil, and that Korean born baby will speak Brazilian or Portuguese when they're older. Does that make sense? You can teach a child a million and one things, and they will hold on to it. So I don't think anybody is born a narcissist. I think it's just based off of trauma and behaviors that people adopt and they learn. Do I think there is hope? Yes and no. Sometimes they have to want the help. If this person does not see anything wrong with them, then there is no hope for them because they generally don't see anything wrong. Um, for the people who might have narcissistic tendencies, because I used to have narcissistic tendencies as well. I didn't know that's what it was, but I was just responding or reacting or coping the best way that I knew how, the way that I saw it happening. But then I realized that I'm miserable and that's not the way that I want to do it. And I realized that I've been a victim in, a lot of these situations, and it just, so they have to want it. Dr. Becker, did you have something you wanted to add in?
I do. Okay, I just needed to just clarify just a little bit because the question was kind of along the lines of are people born that way? And I understand what you're saying about a blank slate, but a narcissistic, true narcissist, it's a personality disorder.
Yeah.
So with a personality disorder, in all the schools of thought that I have been under, et cetera, there is no cure for a personality disorder, a true one. However, it can be managed, and part of that management, and not necessarily with medication, but part of the management comes with acknowledgement and
Mm.
acceptance. And that's with any of the personality disorders. And so then if a person is willing to then get the coping skills and the tools, they can actually manage that so that they don't superimpose that personality disorder on other people and or hurt other people. And so with the true narcissistic person, with the personality disorder, because we all have a little bit of narcissism. I mean, all of
Yeah.
us do, because otherwise we would not be steadfast in our careers and jobs, etc. So we have to have a little bit of that. But when it becomes a problem where you are stepping on other people and you are in a bully like type of situation, I will not call out any names now, but there is a
Yes.
person in a very high office right about now that is a narcissist. And so when those people don't really care how they hurt other people, it's all about me, to the tune where you're selfish on 1,000, then that's a problem. But we all have a little bit of narcissism. So yes, that blank slate piece of it, dropping someone off in it, yes, absolutely. But at the same time, if they have a true personality disorder, they have a personality disorder, and there is no treatment for it other than acknowledgement and management.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes. Especially with the like actual like personality disorder. Yeah. Let's see. Christina, did you want to chime in as well?
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you before that I was in a narcissistic relationship. Um, and ironically enough, I was being called a narcissist. Um, and I don't feel that I mean, we all have like toxic tendencies, and I know that I was toxic for him just as much as he was toxic for me. But how does someone know if they are a narcissist or they're narcissistic towards others? I guess is my question.
Well, I would say a lot of the times they don't care. I don't even think, well, listen, I don't know if they realize that it's narcissism, but from what I've observed and what I've, read, a lot of the times they are not concerned about other people because there's like a lack of empathy. So, I mean, if I am a narcissist, so what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they really know that they are. But come on, it can't be that
Well,
hard to see that you're hurting somebody, you know?
right. I mean, I don't think I'm narcissistic. I guess you know how they say narcissistic people are like how you were explaining, they're kind of trained when they're young, right? From
Mhm.
trauma.
Yeah.
So I was born in a very traumatic and violent household where my father was drunk half the time, beating on my mom.
Mm.
So it was violent before I was born. While she was pregnant with me, she told me, and after I remember the youngest age I remember was 4 years old,
Mm.
that he punched her in the face like a man.
Oh.
So I remember a lot of and in my when my grandmother before she passed, she gave me all the pictures of me and him, me smiling. My mom told me that every time he left the house, I was really attached to him, but I don't remember any of those things. I just remember um, how he treated my mom, and I remember always smelling the mixture of beer and cigarettes on him every time I would hug him.
Yeah.
So that was his cologne, essentially. So I'm like, okay, if I was born in like a very traumatic household, am I possibly a narcissist? Am I like I'm not really questioning if I am, I guess, but I just want to know like what are my toxic traits because I know I can get very cold. Like I can't be either I love hard or I'm like ice. I don't know how to
Yeah.
be in between.
Okay. I get that.
Hannah, can I say one more thing? I'm sorry. I should have raised my hand for this one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so, for the person that was just speaking, sometimes when we are in whatever the relationships that we are in, they're hard because we bring our baggage with us. And
Mm.
so, depending on what baggage your so your person brought with them, and you're bringing your baggage, and sometimes we can be antagonistic people just because we're still hurting because we haven't dealt with some of that. So, not saying that you're a narcissistic person, because again, we all have some, but the part that makes it well, what you just described sounds almost kind of like you are more antagonistic because you are maybe pushing that person's buttons. And so in pushing those buttons, then it becomes a more toxic environment. And that's just because if we don't learn how to have healthy conflict resolution, healthy problem solving, what does a healthy, good relationship look like? It's not that stuff we see on TV, because the stuff we see on TV, they don't fight, they don't argue, etc.
Yeah.
But what does a real healthy relationship look like? There's going to be conflict, but it can be resolved in a healthy way. And so what you witnessed was a lot of trauma. So with that, sometimes we have that hurt inside because we weren't able to express it and get that out. And so we take that with us until one day it's almost kind of like a soda can. You can shake it, shake it, shake it, and the top gets pulled, and
Mm.
poof, there it is exploding all over the place. And so with your significant other, maybe that was some of the things that he did that was quite explosive for you or
You
caused
know
you to
what?
have that kind
You're
of
right.
explosion.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely exactly what you said with the soda pop. That's how I describe myself a lot was like I'm a ticking time bomb
Yeah.
because we get some characteristics from each parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents have very very high tempers, like they're very short fused. So those in combination, like not just one, but both of them, I have both of them in me
It's
where I can
DNA.
snap. Yeah, I can snap. I can snap and I snapped like when I say that he was very toxic for me, he brought a side of me out that I've never seen before in me or I haven't seen in a very long time. And um I remember saying things that was very dark about him uh, the gangbanging friends he would have around, his low life and partial, and not his entire family, but his the family members that are low lives that don't do anything better for themselves and always angry, always doing things to hurt him and other people. I would say things about them because it would get me so mad. And I remember realizing one day that I hated them more than the person who assaulted me years ago.
Quick
And that's a
question.
lot of hate. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you guys see my screen? I started resharing it again.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
we can see it.
Okay.
I
Because
like that. That looks really pretty.
I do want to get you guys out of here because I'm over time. But I did tell everybody they could leave if they wanted to. So, but I do appreciate you guys for sharing. And Christina, I always love you. Having conversation and just all you do. Um, and it's funny because Christina actually purchased my first official copy of my own book, He Loves Me Not. Um,
Yes, it's great.
yes. So if anybody would like to purchase a copy of the book, you can open up your camera and scan that QR code, and it will take you to my Shopify store. It is an ebook, so once you know, purchase, it'll just take you directly to the ebook, and you can read through it as you'd like. Christina, a few words. How do you like it?
I really like it. I'm not a reader at all, right? And I was literally stuck on it the first few pages that was in. So, I was planning to read a little bit of more pages tonight before I go to bed. But I'm kind of glued to it, and I was recommending it to my friend.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Let
Okay, I'm
me
buying
see.
it right now.
Oh, yeah, look at back with.
Yes, you should. It's really good. It felt very genuine. Like especially like it almost felt like you were writing a letter to yourself, like your
Mm,
own diary, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But in very detailed, and that's what I like because when we talked about journaling, that's what I do. I kind of write a letter, and one of the things I did was I wrote a letter to myself, but in future tense.
yeah, I get that. I wanted to just convey my thoughts and be myself. Um, and I think you guys get to really see me reflected in the book. The same way I talk like this is the same way I talk in the book, like literally. So I do hope you guys enjoy. And I'll make it available as well. If anybody wants me to just, afterwards, maybe tomorrow, send them the link directly, I can do that also. Let's see. Of course, if you haven't already, please feel free to scan or look up the Girl I Got You podcast. I am on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Um, you can, well, please subscribe, listen to some of the episodes, leave reviews, 5 stars always, and just share with anybody that you think might need to hear some of the things that we talk about whenever we have these events or a particular episode. I'm here to help. I would recommend the episode on anxious attachment. That's pretty good. The episodes on narcissistic abuse. When I did very recently, within this last week, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, was Beauty for Ashes. And it's a very calming and peaceful episode where I talk about just the springtime, revenge, reflection, all kinds of things. It's just me on the phone. But yes, so feel free to scan the QR code or just type it into whatever platforms that you have and take a listen. Let me know what you think. And then,
I
oh,
like your podcast, by the way. I did hear the Beauty for Ashes,
yes.
and I had to go back, but am on the part one and I'm listening to part one for the narcissistic one.
Oh,
And
yes.
then, yeah, I found the part two and I'm like, oh, wait, let me go back. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A lot of what I talk about here, I talked about in those episodes as well. Um, and these episodes are just my own internal, external dialogue. Like I'm thinking out loud, if you would. And I think it helps me cope. It helps me to express myself. And I think it helps a lot of other people as well. So, with that being said, after all of this meat, potatoes, gravy, vegetables, all kinds of good stuff, please scan this QR code. You just grab your phone, open up the camera, and it will take you to a Google Doc. And it should look like, let me pull that up. It should look like this. And it's not too long. You don't have to fill it out tonight if you don't want to. It's just leaving a review. So, how was the seminar? 1 to 5, what, you know, rating would you give? You know, just leaving feedback so I know how to better improve events and tailor them to your guys' liking. Um, and yes, that being said, we are all finished and only 26 minutes over. But thank you all so, 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 so much for joining me today for this event. I put a lot of time and energy into, this presentation, and I'm proud of myself. I'm very happy that you guys came. I know some people left a little bit early, and that's fine. I hope that I was able to enlighten you in any way that I could, even if it was just with one of the slides, just anything that can make your life better. I'm here to help. And like how I always end my podcast, girl, I got you. So, yes, guys, remember to leave those reviews. Feel free to listen to other episodes of the podcast. I'm pretty sure I have everyone's contact information here. So, if there's any updates or things of that nature, I can send them to you. And I think that's all. So, thank you guys so much for coming. Ah.
thank you.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much.